So,
Well, this is the cat and squid group. Um, those were great. Those were great films. Those were amazing.
all the cats
Everybody,
should clap.
all the cats should clap. Everyone brought their cat in to watch those films with. Um, so we we want to invite people in. We have some questions that have already been accumulating since the beginning of the block, and those were great, you guys. Really was a lot of fun. Some of them were absolutely hilarious. Um, can you all hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Yes.
great. Everyone's got their cats. So one of the things that came in was somebody really we wanted to talk first about Funny Days with Zach and Becca, and that people really there was a few people that mentioned how much they love the costume design and makeup for the clowns. This person was interested into hearing from you guys how you came up with the idea and what you found so interesting about the history of comedia.
Okay. Well, the history of Comedia is actually a made-up Comedia that we made up. So it's the idea sprung out of Becca here really wanted to be a clown, but she's a terrible clown. So that was the basis of the idea. And then we kind of based a lot of it on a kind of a social allegory to what's going on with immigration in the United States and other persecutions in the country that we thought should be commented on. And clowns have kind of taken a bad rap in the last couple decades, and we thought it'd be nice to kind of put a positive spin on it and get back to what comedia and clowning was originally about, as a kind of social commentary and commenting on the things that you know you can't say out loud. So
As a form of satire.
correct, satire. That's the word I should have said from the beginning.
Satire, of course. Well, it's great. It really looks great. I enjoyed that one a lot. Actually, I thought it was great.
Thank you.
We have an incredible costume designer and makeup artist. The makeup artist is Angie Johnson. She does all kinds of like horror, any kind of like practical effects you can imagine. And she really like took what we gave her and ran with it and made it work. We did airbrush for everything, so it looks more like skin than like say grease paint would.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Why, thank you.
So, and where did you guys shoot all of this? Was that in the LA area?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Van Nuys. That was actually the pilot episode. That was all we could raise funds for, and we're currently trying to raise funds to finish. We have 14 episodes written. The makeup is very expensive, and that's our biggest expense, so working on that.
So, also, so can we? I, I'd like to just ask any of you guys to chime in at any time. I mean, why have you chosen to do web series opposed to doing a short film or a feature or something like that? Anyone?
Anybody?
For me, I'll start. For me, I started off doing short films, just basically out of college, and I did the whole film festival circuit where you would submit, pay a fee, wait 5 months, get denied, and then eventually you get into the like Ohio Film Festival and Chili Cook-Off. And so like the thing is for short films, I quickly learned that there really is. It's more of just like a calling card, which at the time, this is probably back like 2003. There wasn't really too much online yet, and so basically, um, what I did is me and a couple of buddies, we got so tired of either being rejected or like we would get into festivals, then you'd go and you would be one short film in the block of a bunch, but it just depends on how many people showed up. And then at the end, it was like, hey, I really enjoyed that. And then that was kind of the end of it. So it never really led to anywhere. And then sometimes it'd be a theater of like 5 people. So basically, what we did is at the time, we took all of our short films and put them up on YouTube. And at the time, YouTube was more cat videos and people posting like their personal videos, but there wasn't a lot of really produced stuff. So at the time, we got lucky and got a lot of exposure early on because we actually had produced stuff that normally would have gone to festivals, but we just threw it online, and then that eventually just led to web series work where you immediately have an audience and you don't have to wait 5 months to get denied or rejected or accepted, and it's instant, and you get instant feedback, and the audiences are far larger online than you'll get at any film festival, and the exposure and to be able to spread it around and get feedback and hopefully other work, the opportunities are far greater online than they are, especially like with short films. Feature-wise, that's different. I don't have the resources to do that, or I would definitely try to pursue that. But no, the web's just it's been a great outlet for getting work out there and getting, more importantly, people to actually see it.
Has that been the case with everyone else?
Yeah, like just yeah, I mean, like I've heard people say like, oh man, my thing online only got like 8,000 views, and it's like 8,000. I mean, like what Sean said, compared to the film festival circuit, 8,000 people. That's lots of people. Like that's
800 people is huge.
You know, 800 people. 800. Yeah, and like I mean, exactly. And look, I mean, they say more money, more problems. I have no idea what that means, but when you don't have a lot of resources, who said something really good? Hey, we're doing something here. Who said something really good in the other panel was just great to be here. Someone said something in the other panel. They said there's no director's jail on the web. There's no jail time in terms of like the industry and how you get bad stuff can kind of stick to you. I think the web's very forgiving, and it's a great place. For example, for Stockholm, one of our big goals was to try something really different, try a comedy with a serial killer, and that's the creative freedom on the web also is something definitely worth exploring and doing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the web is just it's so much faster. It's like you can make something, and whether it gets 5 or 500,000 views, you can make something else very quickly. And I think that's important if you are, if you have a fan base, if you, like me, like I kind of found myself with one. I wasn't really anticipating it, but, they keep wanting to see more, and it really spurs you to keep making things because you kind of don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah. For me, it was a lot of the story that I started writing, and it just started out as scenes, and then it seemed to lend itself to a web series format a lot better than if I was to do a short or a feature. That's kind of how I got roped into the world, so to speak.
I have a question. I want to make sure all these cats have some kind of signed release, so we can show this later.
All right, here's the deal. First of all, he's got a lawyer. He is a lawyer, and he's going to look at anything that you want him to sign. So we'll talk about that offline.
My cat is definitely union.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So now this is a question that everybody always asks. I mean, how much of a budget do you guys have? You had a budget, or are you doing this completely on a zero budget, or with just favors? How are you guys pulling these? Because I mean, production value is great on everything. So I mean, can you touch on that for other web creators and filmmakers that are trying to figure out how to do this?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
for me, the guy who just brought in the cat, if you saw him, that is my husband / cinematographer, and we own a camera package and some equipment. So in my case, I was very fortunate. Like, it was extremely cheap because I was really just paying for food. But on the other hand, when I do season 2, I want to pay people. So I think, like, had I paid everybody a reasonable amount, it would have come out to like around, at least $10,000. And I feel like with web series, like, they go anywhere from like 0 to like $1 million, like literally. There's a huge range of money that you can use to make a web series?
Yeah, I did most of mine was on the barter system. I ultimately spent about 2,000 of my own money, and we did 10 episodes, and we shot in 8 days. Don't ask how I managed to schedule that. But it was like my DP. I shot his wedding for free. The director owed me a favor. My production coordinator was one of the actresses, and things like that. So it was one of those, hey, I worked for you on yours for free, it's my turn type of thing. But I'm pretty sure season 2 would have to involve money and stuff. Yes. That's not my own money. I can't do that again.
Bartering's always a good way of doing this. It seems like that's part of the collaboration. I think if we help somebody, then they'll help you on your project as well, hopefully.
But it feels like it's more valuable to barter than offer an insulting rate, or like that's. I know a lot of people, and myself, I've traded either editing actors' reels in order for them to act for us, as opposed to like paying them $20 to come out because that's all I have. So
right.
It's always been a valuable resource to barter, because I feel like you're offering more and you're getting more in return that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always a good idea. Yeah. So is the web? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, I was gonna agree that we did a lot of trading, but we also I feel like obviously from this film festival, it kind of shows that the quality of web shows is continuing to rise, and it's getting harder and harder to produce something that stays at the level that people are expecting for free. And it definitely requires a lot of, it may not be actual money, but if we were to factor in all the hours we put into this, it's probably pretty expensive for all of us to complete these shows, for sure.
Yeah, and I think, I was one of the people that was reviewing and screening some of the films. There was a few people that actually screened some of these films and I was shocked at the quality. It's just like the web series are just now, the production quality is so high. You guys are like making great content. There's great stories, it's really, but it's absolutely a lot different than it was a few years ago. Oh,
I like that. I think that it's important. And now I think that, and I like that. I think now that as we elevate the level of production value that we produce, I think that it will just be the stories and the way those stories are told that will be the dividing line between a good show and a bad show. And that's an incredible level of progress from even 5 years ago, back in the day when we were kind of getting started in this. So it's really cool to see it rising so quickly and so well.
Yeah, I think the equipment that's available to people, the what are they called? The prosumers, the cameras, and the mics, that you don't have to be a professional who's been doing it for years. I think the web is a really great avenue for rising independent filmmakers. You just kind of want to get their work out there and then see what else can come of it, because ultimately work begets work.
Well, and also, you guys know that, like, Ira Glass has this really great quote where he says, the problem with being good at something is when you start out, you have good taste but no skill. So your good taste actually tells you just how fucking horrible you are. And you have to work through that time when you are learning to be as good as your taste and your values and what you want to do as a storyteller. And the web, I think, is a really, really great playground to do that,
Yeah, so have you all had many other projects that you've probably have not had so much success with, or under your belt?
Yeah, let's talk about our failures. Wait.
That's the question I just got.
Well,
and that is the question, and I was trying to phrase it to not say failed, but that is one of the questions.
Well, I'll speak from a perspective of someone who's also is an actor, and now I'm starting to move into directing and producing. I can't tell you how many shorts I did or other people's projects just in the last few years that I never saw anything. They're always in post-production, or they're always working on something, or they'll have to submit it to a film festival, and we never see any of it. And I feel like almost all the web series I worked on, whether it was in production design or in front of the camera behind, I've seen those. I haven't seen any of the other stuff. Sorry, just saw the halo.
There's a ton of stuff that will, God willing, never make it to my website or my reel or any of that stuff, you know. And you know, those are the. But you know, they say that failure should be embraced and expected. So.
Yeah, I mean, you learn from all your failures and all your successes, and I think the important thing is to just keep doing things so that you can have both of those. And eventually, even if you're horribly, horribly bad when you start, you will get better as long as you just keep doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree 100%. And then what, how much work do you guys do to interact with your fans?
I do a lot.
That's
I don't have a huge fan base, so it's easy for me to interact with them when they do, try to contact me. I also do have, some people helping me with social media stuff, so they do stuff as well. But I think that interaction is a huge part of it.
I would agree. That's a big part for us as well, is trying to find a way to reach our fan base and then continually intrigue them, which has been the toughest part. But it's really important, I think, with this generation for us to constantly be stimulating them in some way, or they quickly move on to the next thing.
Exactly, because like online, I mean, like your competition is anything from viral videos to your own email to news to games online. Like there's so many distractions that if you don't engage them, which is also the advantage that the web has over anything else, is that you can engage with your fans, whether it be via comments or Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. And I think people feel more involved and they'll keep coming back if you have that.
So, I'm still here. Okay, there we go. Well, this is a question for everyone. I don't know who it's from. Most of these are coming in. I don't know where they're from, outer space or something. Okay, so for everyone here, what skills, like either within software, stunts, or anything like that, were you forced to learn on the job as a result from working with a low to no budget kind of production? Oh, and it came from Scott Rosencrantz. Thank you. Okay, this is Scott's.
I learned to juggle, but not very well at all.
I learned, I mean, I didn't know anything about making websites, but I found that I had to, like, it was just cheaper for me to learn how to do all the website stuff and do it myself. So I did. And now I know how to do that.
I actually learned a great deal in the editing room. I sat with my editor the entire time and looked at cuts and how shots flow from one and another. And it was a big lesson learned for next time I go back using a camera and knowing how scenes should transition and how they should be framed and directed and what have you. And that was definitely something I never went to school for or anything. So that was a good lesson.
I had a similar experience with editing with my Gimpy Life. Up until now, I've usually edited everything I've directed, but this was one of the first times I actually let another editor take the footage. And in doing that, it was great to see that aspect of collaboration come in, whereas the editor, I've removed myself from the project. Instead of, like, when I'm editing, I can't tell if it's good anymore, and that's why I'm not a writer, because by the time I get to the directing phase, I probably just hate everything. So I like to take what someone's written, direct it, and then now, because of this project, it's been beneficial to give it to an editor and see what they can add to it to make it better in the end.
Yeah, I'm with you, Sean. I mean, definitely, you definitely hate it several times along the way, I feel. And I kind of learned, it was an interesting lesson. There were some times, because Stockholm was a really small project, and I was everything. I was the cinematographer, I was the sound recording guy, I was the director on set. I did everything but like production design essentially, and act it. And one of the things was I was so busy that there were times when I wanted to get in there and give them direction, but sometimes I would just do another take, just go really fast. And there's a really interesting energy that you can develop in repetition with the actors, and that's, I guess, the lesson I took away, was to shut up sometimes.
So, well, I'm going to. Oh, I have my little Google headband on. I forgot.
Why is that an option?
I know. I'm going to go for a run here in a minute. So I'm going to wrap this up, and I really appreciate everybody coming. If we can just quickly, if you can go through and let us know how we see your stuff, how we can find more. First, let's find out from Scott. How do we see more of Stockholm?
You go to www.watchstockholm.com, and you can check out. You can follow us on Twitter at Watch Stockholm and on Facebook at facebook.com/watchstockholm.
Terrific. And Sean, how about you?
For My Gimpy Life, if you just go to YouTube/My Gimpy Life, you can see all of season 1, which is 5 episodes. The episode that we showed in this festival was episode 3, so you can find out what happens before and after. And then for myself, I'm at Sean Becker at Twitter. You can find out about any future projects or what I had for lunch. I'll post pictures of that as well.
Okay, Sylvie, you want to tell us also how we can see more of Hipsterhood?
Yeah, you can go to hipsterhoodseries.com. It's all one word. We're on Facebook, on Twitter, on Tumblr, on Pinterest, and basically just type in Hipsterhood to any one of those and you should be able to find us. But we are everywhere that hipsters want to be.
Especially Silver Lake. And Tanya, how about your show?
We screened, you guys saw the first episode. We have 10 for season 1 at lovestupidseries.com. It's one word, Love Stupid Series. And yeah, there's a Facebook that I'm kind of bad at updating, but I'm going to get better. Yes.
That's great. Okay, and Zach and Becca.
Yes, you can see the pilot episode again, as well as some teasers at www.funnydaysseries.com, and there's a lot more information on the site about the lore of Funny Days. And yeah, we really appreciate everyone and us being a part of this. This has been great.
Yes, thank you.
I'm really thankful and grateful that you guys are all here and that you're making great content. It's like fantastic stuff, and I hope you keep doing it. And if you guys are around, I hope you come tomorrow night so we can all meet face to face. That'd be really great.
Can we bring our cats?
You can bring your cats.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very good.
I mean, I'm not allowed. I'm not in charge of saying you can bring them in, but I mean, you can bring them.
You didn't say we could bring them.
That's true.
I didn't
Yes.
say you couldn't bring them. All right. Well, thanks everyone. We really appreciate you tuning in, and this will be recorded and hopefully posted later, so we can, for people who weren't able to stay up, like the European people.
How dare they?
Yes. So thanks again, and we'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.